Hi, I'm Paul from Crypto Balance, and today I wanted to talk about the very soon to be live ICO of the company Friendz. So Friendz is an upcoming app that allows brands to connect to their target audience through social influencer marketing. Social influencer marketing is, of course, brands connecting with anybody that has an influence on any social media platform and paying them or giving them a free product in order to promote it. Of course, this goes on a lot on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere that there's a social media platform. And this will be no different. So on the Friendz app, a brand might upload a campaign to that app to promote a pair of shoes, and I, as a user and someone that has a social media profile, might go on and say that I want to participate in this campaign. I then maybe take a picture of my shoes or whatever it was, whatever product it was. I would then upload it to the Friendz app, where the other users of the Friendz app would either approve or disapprove that content. And this would all be based on smart contracts, and if it was approved, the people who went to verify that picture would be paid tokens, and myself as the uploader of that picture would be paid tokens if it went on to be published. So this is something that is around today, and there's lots of apps that do this. I've taken part in some, but the ecosystem of the tokens would really be about automating the upload process and the verification process, so that the Friendz company themselves wouldn't be manually approving every picture in this campaign. And the reason that's quite important, especially for Friendz, is that they're attempting to reach an area of the market called micro influencers. So rather than Kim Kardashian, who obviously has millions of followers on Instagram, rather than contacting those kinds of celebrities, if you like, who have big followings, you might have a few hundred or a few thousand people take part in your campaign that only have maybe a couple of hundred or 1,000 followers. And the reason for this is that although we do tend to trust celebrities and big names, and we are very influenced by them, the theory is that you trust closer family and friends more. So there's, despite the fact that there's not too many people approaching micro social influencers, there could be a lot of value if that potential can be harnessed, and that's why the Friendz app is using the blockchain, so they can automate that in a trustless way, where all the components of that ecosystem are rewarded and incentivized for taking part. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with this project is competition. Since I've done a little bit of Instagram marketing myself, and I've been involved in digital marketing and social media marketing for the past 7 years or so, I've been quite familiar with this area, and I've used some other similar apps. So although there may not be other competition currently using this technology in this space, there is a tremendous amount of competition in influencer marketing, and literally thousands of other companies and marketing agencies vying to take a bigger market share in this area. Now Friendz, of course, might be able to take some initiative, being the first to get involved in blockchain technology, but after a little bit of research, I already found another ICO that is coming up in just 15 days from the point of me making this video, and this sounds very similar. It's not just influencer marketing. They're actually saying this is the world's first nano and micro influencer marketplace on the blockchain. So I'm not too sure it will be the world's first, because this sounds very similar to Friendz, who I don't think they use the words micro influencer. I think I might have adopted this language from visiting this competitor's site. But they definitely have talked about reaching those smaller, or influencers with less followers. So there is a tremendous amount of competition in this area from outside of blockchain technology. And looking at this, there is also going to be other companies coming into this space very soon. Having said that, just on the very surface of it, because I've not looked into this one much more, having glanced at this, Friendz seems to be the far more appealing brand, and they are, of course, first to release their ICO. And the other thing about Friendz is that they are already a company that is making money, which is very rare in this space, so that's very nice to see. So taking a look at the roadmap, I'm not a big fan of this roadmap for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it covers a long period of time, up to Q3 in the year 2020. Now that's a long time in the crypto world, as we all know, and it's also a very long time in the digital marketing world. So a lot can happen in that time, and especially when you look at this, for example. So they're not intending to release this app in North America until Q1 of 2020. That's 2 years time. That's an awful lot of time for someone to come in and perhaps release another app in North America that could obviously eat into this company's market share. The other thing that I don't really like about this roadmap is that it's really just listing parts of the world that they're going to conquer over a 2-year period. It doesn't really mean a lot to me. Now, as you know, with most ICOs and most projects within the crypto space, there's an awful lot of tokens that represent an idea and don't actually have a working product behind them. And in one sense, Friendz is no different. The app that they are intending to have these tokens used on doesn't yet exist. But unlike a lot of other companies in this space, they are currently making money as a company, and they do have an app in this area, in the area of social media influencing. So when I first heard of that, I was really excited because that's quite rare, and I thought, well, that's great. That's a company that already has something that's looking to expand on it. However, I was really disappointed that I couldn't download and use that app because it wasn't available in the UK App Store. So that was a big disappointment after hearing that they did have a working product. I would have loved to have checked that app out to see what it's like, because that would obviously give me a lot of indication as to what this app might look like and if it's going to be something I would get excited about. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the team. Now, this is a bit different from other projects in the sense that this team has been together already for a few years and is already running a successful business. So we don't necessarily have to go away and look at everybody's last few projects to try and judge how good these guys will be. You can kind of judge them on the merits of what they've achieved together as a team over the last couple of years. So for example, you can get a bit of an overview from here. It's in the white paper as well, but they have 4 offices, 35 team members, 2 years of activity. They raised 500,000 euros in a round of financing. They have 200 brands and clients, multinational companies, 1.2 million in revenue in 2017, and I think they've mentioned that was slightly in profit, so that's not 1.2 million profit, that's revenue, of course, which is great, of course, for 2 years of activity and from €500,000 funding. They have 200,000 users of their app, although again I couldn't use the app, I'm not one of those users, and 3 million plus published pictures, and they reckon they've reached 1.5 billion people on social media. So that's kind of what they've achieved together over the last couple of years as a team, and I think that's probably more beneficial to look at that than to go away and dig into their past before they came together to form Friendz. However, of course, you can do that. I've had a bit of a poke around on LinkedIn. They all seem like they've got a lot of experience before this, but I've not done as much digging as I perhaps could by going into each one of these team members and spending a long time looking for them on Twitter and extensively looking into their pasts. One thing I would say about this guy though is that he does seem to have some kind of karate thing going on, and he is the co-founder of a company called Friendz.
You're a master of karate and friendship for everyone. Dayman, fighter of the night, man.
So next I wanted to take a look at the branding, and I think this is absolutely awesome. It's a brilliant example of how to operate a ICO, in my opinion, because it is wonderfully branded and wonderfully marketed, which you would hope that would be the case, because of course this is a marketing company. And do they know their social media? Do they know what they're doing on Instagram? So again, I've got some Instagram accounts. I have an account with over 30,000 followers in the running space, so I know a thing or two about Instagram and how to grow followings there, and I think this is a good account. I wouldn't say it's an excellent account, but it is a good account. Now it's quite difficult for marketing companies to to do their own social media, ironically. They often do a much better job of other people's social media than they do themselves, but this is a nice looking profile with what looks to be some genuine engagement, very nice photography, with some nice growth. So I would say this is certainly nothing that would put me off. It looks like they've done a good job here, and this is of course nothing to do with their ICO. This is the current app, and this is their actual website for that app. Now this isn't as nice as the ICO site, if you ask me. It's still nice, but it's not beautiful. I think the other one's really, really nice. And you can go here and have a look at, this is the app that they currently claim to have 200,000 users of. Only 27 reviews and 4 stars, so that's kind of a little disappointing because there's some big claims, but you can go on here and you can read reviews of that app, so that's probably worth doing. But again, I couldn't actually get hold of this app to use it, which was a bit annoying to say the least. Let's have a look at their Telegram though. Where are we? Their Telegram is extremely busy, with 80,000 plus members. These Telegram groups are just getting excessively large. They're completely useless to use, but of course this is all to do with marketing through airdrops. A lot of these ICOs, or not necessarily even doing ICOs, but a lot of these projects in the blockchain space are using airdrops as a way to market their product or their upcoming product. Polymath was a great example of that. They didn't even do an ICO, but they gave away an awful lot of Polymath, and they were able to get 50,000 Telegram users in a group by doing so. Friendz have done the same excessively well. Haven is the other one. I think they've got over 100,000 in Telegram at the moment. So this is all really nice. Not a criticism of Friendz, because they've done this brilliantly, and it is an excellent way. Airdrop combined with getting you to sign up with the email, getting you to sign up for the Telegram group. It's a brilliant way to get people's attention, and they've done it excellently. I'm just starting to find these groups just completely useless once I've joined them. And just again to complement the site and the airdrop marketing, we'll call it, this is the back end of the site which you can log into, where you can sign up for various aspects of the airdrop by joining the whitelist, joining the Telegram group. I think they have 2 Telegram groups. One, I presume, is just news. The other one's a group where everyone can talk. Twitter, subscribing to the newsletter, putting your wallet address in, and referring people. I've not referred anyone. I'm kind of not into that. So this is probably worth doing it's definitely worth doing if you're interested in this project. You'll get, I don't think it'll be an enormous amount of USD value for doing all this, but worth doing. And again, this has been another excellent example of how you can attract a lot of attention, and organic traction, by having people refer and tweet and join Telegram groups through airdrop marketing, which is done excellently from Friendz. Okay, so they have a total supply of 1.5 billion. The minimum goal is 50 million Friendz tokens, and the hard cap is 750 million Friendz tokens. Now I'm going to assume that they will hit their hard cap. This seems to be a very well promoted, very well marketed ICO campaign. So based on that assumption, and the price of, I'm going to take the middle price here. They have a very reduced price if you're early days investor. I don't know if that is actually just it looks like it's actually just an hour to get in there, and those tokens are progressively unlocked over 12 months, so you won't have access to all your tokens initially over the first 12 months if you get that lower price. But anyway, for the purposes of this, I'm going to look at the price of 6.1 cents. Now at that price, if they hit their hard cap, that would give them a value of 45.75 million. So the total token value would be that, and that would of course be their market cap at that point. So as investors, the most important thing for us to do at this stage is to try and work out what the potential price of these tokens might be. Something else that I'm interested in is trying to work out the potential use case price versus the sort of more speculative price. Right now, for example, the price is 100% speculation because there's no app that is creating demand for these tokens to be used to buy marketing campaigns. And that's the same for most of these projects. They are more or less 100% speculation, or they are 100% speculation because there's no use case value at the moment. So with this, I wanted to start looking at working out the use case potential value versus the speculative value. And that's what I've tried to do here. And I've had to make quite a lot of assumptions along the way. So you can look at those assumptions, and that's where you'd have to input your own judgment to see whether you think I'm overestimating or underestimating or being fair or unfair. But I'll talk you through what I've managed to work out anyway. So the first thing I wanted to work out is what is the total amount of money being spent on influencer marketing. So if you imagine that these tokens were the only way to buy influencer marketing in the world, that would mean that the value of these tokens would equal the current total spend on influencer marketing globally. And that's not been easy to work out because there's lots of different numbers from different people, but I've looked at a few different articles, and I thought I would take this figure of by 2019, this is obviously projected, there will be 2.3 billion, and this is on Instagram alone. In the white paper they did mention that the total spend was 500 million last year, which did seem on the low side to me. Another article here says 570 million globally marketers spent on influencer marketing on Instagram last year. So I'm going to be quite generous in terms of the overall spend in influencer marketing come 2019. So I'm going to go for 3 times this amount because this is Instagram only. So I'm going to say 6.9 billion because obviously you've got Facebook and YouTube is massive as well, then Twitter and other social networks too. So I'm going to say a total spend of 6.9 billion by 2019 might be fair. But of course, Friendz aren't saying that they are trying to capture the entire social influencing market. They are talking about the smaller social influencers, or as I used the word before, micro social influencers. Right now, the market will be way in favour of the macro social influencers, if you like, the Kim Kardashians, the famous footballers and so on. But let's say by 2019, micro social influencer marketing is 30% of the total spend on social influencer marketing. I think that would probably be quite generous, but I'm going to use that figure as far as this example is concerned. So that would work out about 2 billion. So if Friendz were able to somehow capture 100% of the micro social influencer marketing spend during 2019, that would mean that the token price would have to be at least $2.66. However, it is of course enormously unlikely that they would have 100% market share. I think they would be doing spectacularly well if they had, say, a 20% market share. That would be very enormously successful if by 2019 they had 20% of this market, especially when you look at the roadmap when they aren't even talking about launching their app in the United States until 2020. So if they were to capture 20% of the potential market by 2019, that would give this token a price of 53 cents and a market cap of 400 million. And just to mention at this point, this wouldn't of course be the company's profits, this would be the value of every token in the ecosystem. So of course none of the coins on tokens in CoinMarketCap are priced based on the use case demand alone. A large amount of the price is of course speculation, and this would be no different. So for the purposes of this example, let's say the price would be 4 times as high, purely based on speculation. So from those assumptions, I've managed to determine that if they managed to get 20% of the market, and the market was 2 billion, and there was a large amount of speculation, up to 4 times the use case, then you could see a price of $2.12 by the end of 2019. The other thing that I think is interesting to mention at this point is that the 45.7 million that they're hoping to raise, so that would be the current value of these tokens, in a total market of 2 billion, that would already represent 2.2% of the entire spend on micro social influencer marketing by 2019, and that's if, of course, the maybe generous predictions of that total spend come to fruition. So overall, I'm not a huge fan of these token metrics. I'd probably like to see them at least half the price. However, if they were to hit their hard cap, then we would see them outside of the top 200, around about here, 220th in coin market cap. So when you look at it like that, you'd say, yeah, that anything that's got a great marketing team that's 220th, there's room to grow. But for me, looking at the use case, potential price, I think they'd have to do tremendously well as a company for it to grow a great deal from there. Of course, in terms of speculation, who knows? So let's do a quick bit of SWOT analysis on this ICO. Strengths, I would say, is the marketing and the branding for this project is absolutely excellent. Weaknesses, there's just so much competition, and the roadmap, not even talking about it being live in North America for another 2 years. That is the weakness to me, is the speed at which they're talking about moving. And also, I'm not a big fan of the token metrics. So the opportunity for me really comes down to how well the team can market this product. So far they've done a tremendous job of marketing the ICO. If they continue to market it well, and they continue to have a lot of interest in the community, then I don't see why this couldn't reach the top 100. It's a vibrant brand that's very easy to like and understand quickly, and I think that could go a long way in this space. So the threats, of course, come from competition that currently exists. I mentioned an ICO that's coming up in a couple of weeks in a very similar space, and of course there's lots and lots and lots of marketing firms out there that might look at this and say, well, that's done quite well, let's do the same ourselves. And when the roadmap isn't talking about this being released globally, there's no reason why other companies couldn't come in and take a bit of the market share out of this part of the world and a bit of market share about this part of the world, or just something that could come out with just so much money behind it that they could push something like this aside. So in summary from me, although this is a great brand with what looks to be a great team behind it, it looks like a really fun team that have done a lot already that I think will continue to be successful. I just think right now there's better opportunities in the crypto space, mainly based on the token metrics. So ratings wise, short-term price, I'm going to say I'm neutral. Medium-term price, probably bearish. Long-term price, probably bearish as well, just because of the enormous amount of competition that could come into this area. And overall, I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 10. So that's it for me on this one. I hope you found it useful. So please remember, this isn't financial advice. This has just been me having a look at an ICO and giving you my opinion, doing a bit of research. You should, of course, do all your own research. And like I mentioned before with the token metrics, if you're putting different numbers in, you'll get different numbers out. So you need to make your own assumptions on what you think those numbers are likely to be. So thanks for watching, and please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell thing to get notifications. That would really help me out, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.